Part 1. Introduction to Learning Grammar. Hi, I am Arthur, and today I'm excited to talk about the essential topic of how to learn grammar. Grammar is the foundation of every language, and mastering it will significantly improve your ability to speak, write, and understand English more clearly and effectively. Think of grammar as the rules of a game. Once you know these rules, you can play smoothly and confidently without any confusion. Today, we'll delve into the basics of grammar and explore why it's crucial for your English learning journey. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever tried to express yourself, but the words just didn't come out right? Perhaps you wanted to tell a story or explain your feelings, but you struggled to find the right way to say it. That's where grammar comes in. It's the framework that gives us the structure to express ourselves accurately. Without grammar, our words can become jumbled and difficult to understand, leading to miscommunication. But don't worry, learning grammar can be an enjoyable and straightforward process if you approach it step by step. So, what exactly is grammar? Grammar is the collection of rules that dictates how we arrange words in a sentence so that they convey clear and coherent meanings. Imagine building a house. You wouldn't start without a blueprint, right? Grammar serves as that blueprint, providing the structure we need to form sentences that are easy to comprehend. For instance, consider the simple sentence, "The cat is on the mat." This sentence clearly conveys the image of a cat resting atop a mat. However, if I rearrange the words to say, "Mat thee on is cat thee," it wouldn't make any sense at all. This example illustrates why grammar is so important. So why is grammar critical in learning English? Because grammar is what makes language logical and organized. When you learn grammar, you learn how to construct correct sentences, which means that people will understand you better when you speak or write. Imagine wanting to communicate with someone in English, but your sentences are unclear or poorly constructed. They might not understand what you're trying to convey, leading to frustration on both sides. However, with a solid grasp of grammar, your communication will be smooth and confident, allowing you to express your thoughts and ideas effectively. As Richard Chenoweth once said, grammar is the logic of speech, even as logic is the grammar of reason. This quote highlights the vital role grammar plays in ensuring our words make sense, just as logic helps our thoughts align coherently. Now, how do you embark on the journey of learning grammar? Start with the basics. The first step is to understand sentence structure, how words are organized to form a proper sentence. After that, focus on the different parts of speech, such as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and more. These elements are the building blocks of language, much like bricks are essential for constructing a sturdy house. If you know how to use them, you can create strong, impactful sentences. One effective technique for learning grammar is shadowing. This method involves listening to someone speak English, perhaps through my videos on Speak Fluent English on YouTube, and repeating what they say. By mimicking their grammar and sentence structure, you'll start to internalize the rules and patterns of the language. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. Techniques for learning grammar. Start simple. Begin with basic sentences like, "I am a student," or "The dog is happy." Practice speaking these sentences in real conversations. Don't just memorize, use what you learn in context. Listening and repeating is another powerful technique. Shadow speakers and repeat their sentences out loud, paying close attention to the structure and grammar they use. Reading daily can also be beneficial. By engaging with simple English books or articles, you'll see grammar in action and understand how it's used in different contexts. Additionally, practice writing short sentences every day. This exercise not only reinforces your grammar skills, but also helps you express your thoughts clearly on paper. Remember, grammar isn't just about memorizing rules. It's fundamentally about clear communication. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel, and soon you'll find yourself using grammar without even thinking about it. Why you should keep going. Learning grammar might seem challenging at first, but with each new sentence you form, you will gain more confidence in your abilities. It's similar to riding a bike. It may feel wobbly at the beginning, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be off and running smoothly. Let's make this journey of learning grammar an exciting adventure. With each step, you'll move closer to speaking and writing English like a pro. What's the hardest part of grammar for you? Is it forming sentences, understanding verb tenses, or perhaps punctuation? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll make sure to include tailored tips in the upcoming parts of this series to help you overcome those challenges. Part 2. Understanding Parts of Speech. Welcome back. I'm Arthur, and today we're going to dive into one of the most important parts of learning grammar, parts of speech. These are like the building blocks of any language, and understanding them will help you create perfect sentences. Ready to learn? Let's go. What are parts of speech? In English, every word has a specific job. Just like how every person in a team has a role to play, words in a sentence do too. These roles are called parts of speech. There are 8 parts of speech that you need to know: nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. 1. Nouns. The names of things. A noun is a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. For example, in the sentence, "The cat is sleeping," cat is a noun because it names an animal. Nouns are everywhere. Think of your own name. That's a noun too. 2. Verbs, the action words. A verb is a word that shows action. It tells us what someone or something is doing. For example, in "the cat is sleeping." Sleeping is the verb because it shows what the cat is doing. Without verbs, we wouldn't know what's happening. Third, adjectives describing words. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. They tell us more about people, places, or things. For example, "the happy cat is sleeping." Here, happy is the adjective because it describes the cat. 4. Adverbs, how actions happen. Adverbs describe verbs. They tell us how, when, or where something happens. For example, "the cat is sleeping peacefully." Here, peacefully is the adverb because it tells us how the cat is sleeping. 5. Pronouns. The replacements pronouns replace nouns. Instead of saying "the cat is sleeping," we can say "it is sleeping." Pronouns like he, she, it, we, and they make our sentences smoother and less repetitive. 6. Prepositions position words. Prepositions show the relationship between a noun and another word. For example, in the cat is on the mat. On is the preposition because it shows the relationship between the cat and the mat. 7. Conjunctions. Connecting words. Conjunctions are words like and, but, and, or that connect ideas or sentences. For example, the cat is sleeping and the dog is playing. The wording connects two ideas together. 8. Interjections expressing feelings. Interjections are short words that show strong emotions or reactions. Words like wow, oh, ouch are interjections. They're usually found at the beginning of a sentence to express excitement or surprise. Why are parts of speech important? Understanding parts of speech is essential because they help you build correct sentences. Imagine trying to speak English without knowing what nouns or verbs are. It would be confusing. Knowing the role of each word in a sentence makes communication easier and clearer. As David Wilkins once said, without grammar, very little can be conveyed. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. This means that while vocabulary gives you the words, grammar, including parts of speech, tells you how to use them properly. How to master parts of speech. Now that you know the parts of speech, it's time to practice. Here are some techniques to help you. Label the words. When you read a sentence, try to identify which word is the noun, verb, adjective, etc. For example, take the sentence, the happy cat quickly runs outside. Noun, cat adjective. Happy verb, runs adverb. Quickly preposition outside. Doing this will train your brain to see the structure of sentences. Make sentences using all parts of speech. Challenge yourself. Try to make a sentence using all 8 parts of speech. For example, wow. The dog quickly runs under the big tree, and he is very happy. Wow. Interjection dog noun. Quickly adverb. Runs verb under preposition, big adjective conjunction. He pronoun, shadowing technique. Listen to conversations or podcasts in English, then repeat them. Pay attention to how parts of speech are used in real conversations. You can use videos on Speak Fluent English on YouTube to practice shadowing with correct sentence structures. Daily practice. Start small. Write simple sentences every day, focusing on one part of speech at a time. For example, one day practice using different nouns. The next day, focus on verbs. Slowly, you'll get better. Now that you've learned the 8 parts of speech, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, try writing a sentence that uses all 8 parts of speech. Don't worry if it's not perfect. That's how we learn. Part 3. Tenses and how to master them. Welcome back. I'm Arthur, and today we're going to talk about one of the most important grammar concepts in English. Tenses are the tools we use to talk about the past, present, and future. Without tenses, we wouldn't know when something is happening. So they're super important to master. Let's dive right in. What are tenses? In English, tenses tell us when something happens. Did it happen in the past? Is it happening now? Or will it happen in the future? These are the basic questions tenses answer. Learning how to use tenses properly will help you express yourself clearly in English, no matter what you're talking about. There are 3 main tenses in English. Present tense. This is used when something is happening right now. For example, I am eating. Past tense. This is used when something happened before now. For example, I ate. Future tense. This is used when something will happen later. For example, I will eat. Each of these tenses has more forms, but we'll start with these basics to keep it simple for now. Why are tenses so important? Imagine trying to tell someone a story about what happened yesterday, but you use the wrong tense. They might get confused and think it's happening right now, or will happen in the future. That's why understanding tenses is key to clear communication. As Confucius said, a man who reviews the old so as to find out the new is qualified to teach others. Learning the different tenses helps you reflect on the past, speak clearly about the present, and plan for the future, all through the right words. Present tense. Talking about now the present tense is used for things that are happening right now or are generally true. Let's look at a few examples. Simple present used for things that happen regularly or are always true. Example, I eat breakfast every day. Tip use the simple present for routines and facts. Present continuous used for things that are happening right now. Example, I am eating breakfast. Tip use this when you want to talk about something happening at the moment. Present perfect used for things that started in the past but are still true now. Example, I have eaten breakfast. Tip use this when the action has some connection to the present. Past tense. Talking about yesterday. The past tense helps us talk about things that have already happened. Here are some examples. Simple past used for actions that are completed. Example, I ate breakfast yesterday. Tip. This is the basic form for telling stories or recounting past events. Past continuous use for actions that were happening at a certain time in the past. Example, I was eating breakfast when you called. Tip, use this when talking about something that was happening for a while in the past. Past perfect used for actions that happened before another action in the past. Example, I had eaten breakfast before I left for school. Tip. This is useful for talking about what happened first in a sequence of past events. Future tense. Talking about tomorrow. Finally, the future tense lets us talk about what will happen. Here's how it works. Simple future used for things that will happen later. Example, I will eat breakfast tomorrow. Tip, use this for future plans or predictions. Future continuous used for actions that will be happening at a specific time in the future. Example, I will be eating breakfast at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Tip, this is for ongoing actions that will take place in the future. Future perfect used for actions that will be completed before a certain time in the future. Example, I will have eaten breakfast by the time you arrive. Tip, this is good for talking about actions that will be finished before another future event. How to master tenses. Here are some simple techniques to help you master tenses. Practice writing every day. Write 3 sentences, one in the present, one in the past, and one in the future. This will help you see the difference between the tenses. For example, present, I eat dinner. Past, I ate dinner. Future, I will eat dinner. Watch and listen. Pay attention to how tenses are used in real conversations, shows, or podcasts. When someone is talking about something they're doing right now, what tense do they use? When they talk about the past, which tense comes up? You can practice with videos on Speak Fluent English on YouTube to listen to examples of tenses in real-life conversations. Ask and answer questions. When you're practicing English, try asking and answering questions in different tenses. For example, present. What are you doing? Past. What did you do yesterday? Future. What will you do tomorrow? Use shadowing repeat sentences after native speakers, focusing on how they use tenses. This will help you get used to how tenses work in conversation. You can find great shadowing exercises on Speak Fluent English on YouTube to improve your grammar. Your turn. Now that you know the basics of tenses, I want you to try something. Write 3 sentences in the comments, one in the present tense, one in the past tense, and one in the future tense. Let's see how you apply what you've learned. Remember, practicing tenses is key to speaking English fluently. It might feel tricky at first, but keep at it, and soon you'll be able to talk about the past, present, and future with ease. Part 4. Sentence structure and punctuation. Today we're going to talk about 2 very important aspects of grammar, sentence structure, and punctuation. These are the keys to making your writing and speaking clear, smooth, and easy to understand. Are you ready? Let's get started. Why sentence structure matters. When we speak or write in English, we don't just throw words together in any random order. We need to organize them in a way that makes sense. That's where sentence structure comes in. Think of sentence structure as the blueprint that tells us how to arrange words in a meaningful way. Without proper sentence structure, your ideas might be unclear, and people might not understand what you're trying to say. For example, correct the cat is sleeping on the bed. Incorrect sleeping the cat on bed is, in the first sentence, you understand exactly what's happening because the words are in the right order. The second sentence, however, is confusing because the structure is all wrong. Basic sentence structures. There are 3 main types of sentence structures that you need to know. Simple sentences. A simple sentence has one independent clause, which means it has a subject, who or what the sentence is about, and a verb, what the subject is doing. For example, the cat sleeps. I study English every day. These sentences are short but complete, and they get the point across clearly. Compound sentences. A compound sentence joins 2 simple sentences together with a conjunction like, and, but, or. For example, I study English every day, and I practice speaking with my friends. The cat is sleeping, but the dog is playing. Compound sentences let you connect ideas and make your writing more interesting. Complex sentences. A complex sentence has one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. A dependent clause is a part of a sentence that can't stand alone. It needs more information. For example, when I study English, I feel more confident. Because it's raining, we can't go outside. Complex sentences help you express more detailed ideas and show the relationship between different actions or events. Punctuation. The silent guide. Punctuation is just as important as sentence structure. It tells us where to pause, stop, or show excitement. Imagine trying to read a long sentence with no commas or periods. You'd get lost quickly. Let's look at the most common punctuation marks. Period. The period tells us where a sentence ends. It's the full stop that lets the reader or listener know the thought is complete. For example, I love learning English. Comma. The comma is like a pause. It helps separate ideas and make sentences clearer. For example, when I learn grammar, I practice every day. Without the comma, the sentence would be hard to follow. When I learn grammar, I practice every day. This is used at the end of a question. For example, do you practice speaking English? This shows strong emotion or excitement. For example, wow, you're improving so quickly. Apostrophes are used to show possession or to make contractions. For example, it's raining outside. Contraction for it is. The dog's toy is missing. Shows possession. Quote by Moliere Grammar, which knows how to control even kings. This quote reminds us that knowing how to use grammar correctly, especially punctuation and sentence structure, gives us the power to communicate clearly and effectively. How to master sentence structure and punctuation. Read aloud. When you read a sentence aloud, you'll naturally pause where punctuation marks are needed. This can help you get a feel for where to use periods, commas, and question marks. Practice writing. Start by writing simple sentences and gradually move on to compound and complex sentences. Focus on using correct punctuation. For example, simple I study, compound I study and I write notes. Complex. When I study, I write notes so I can remember. Check your work. After you write something, go back and check your punctuation. Did you use a period at the end of each sentence? Did you use commas where they're needed? Use online resources. You can practice sentence structure and punctuation with quizzes and exercises available on Speak Fluent English on YouTube. Shadowing exercises on the website will also help you hear how sentences are structured and punctuated in real conversations. Example sentences to practice simple. She reads every day. Compound. She reads every day and she takes notes on what she learns. Complex. Because she reads every day, she is becoming better at English. Your turn. Now it's your turn. In the comments, try writing one simple sentence, one compound sentence, and one complex sentence. This will help you practice building sentences that are clear and correct. If you're unsure about punctuation or sentence structure, check out the videos on Speak Fluent English on YouTube for more guidance. You'll find helpful exercises and examples to sharpen your skills. Part common grammar mistakes and how to avoid them. We're going to talk about some of the most common grammar mistakes that beginners make, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. Don't worry, it's completely normal to make mistakes when learning a language, but with a little practice, you'll be able to spot and fix these errors quickly. Let's get started. Why do we make grammar mistakes? Before we dive into the specific mistakes, let's talk about why they happen. When we're learning a new language like English, we often translate directly from our native language, which can lead to errors. Other times it's because we're not familiar with all the grammar rules yet. The good news? These mistakes are easy to fix once you know what to look for. As Michel de Montaigne once said, the greater part of the world's troubles are due to questions of grammar. This is a reminder of how important it is to understand grammar, not just for speaking correctly, but for clear communication. Common grammar, mistakes and how to fix them. Here are some of the most common mistakes that beginners make and tips on how to avoid them. 1. Subject-verb agreement. The mistake, using the wrong verb form for the subject. For example, incorrect. He go to school every day. Correct? He goes to school every day.